तो स्टूडेंट्स बात चल रही है कुछ वायरलेस नेटवर्क्स की और वायरलेस लोकल एरिया नेटवर्क जिसको आज हम स्टडी करेंगे दैट इज कॉल्ड एज ब्लूटूथ. Students, I'm pretty sure all of you are familiar with this term, Bluetooth. You use it every single day. Bluetooth is a wireless local area network technology or a wireless LAN technology that allows us to connect different devices directly in a limited geographic area. Students, Bluetooth जो LAN है that is an ad hoc network. मैंने आपको ad hoc network और infrastructure network का concept दिया था. Ad hoc network in which we do not require an access point to actually connect different wireless subscribers or the users that we have got in that particular network. और infrastructure network वो था जिसमें हम लोगों ने एक access point को use किया था. तो Bluetooth जो है that is a wireless ad hoc network. अब students, because it is a wireless ad hoc network, we don't have an access point. So the different devices which are Bluetooth enabled devices, they connect to each other directly and form a small network that we call as a Piconet or a small net. Students, the applications of Bluetooth are numerous. When we look around in today's world, the modern small area, small distance connectivity on a wireless level, we actually achieve it today using Bluetooth. Starting from your keyboard connecting to your computer, to your handset or your smartphones connecting to your laptops or your desktops, to all the different other devices, like for example even a microwave oven connecting to your refrigerator and so on and so forth. You can actually do that. You can operate such devices which operate at 2.4 gigahertz by using the Bluetooth wireless LAN technology. Students, Bluetooth initially was started by a company called Ericsson. The name Bluetooth is an English translation of a word called Blatend. The Blatend was the name of a king, of a Danish king, and he was the one who actually combined Denmark and Norway together. And after that particular king, this particular technology is called as Bluetooth. It was initially started by the company Ericsson, which is a Swedish company once again, and now it was standardized. The protocol that is the basis for the standard of Bluetooth is called IEEE 802.15. Students, this standard, it defines a wireless personal area network or a wireless PAN network, which is a standard for a small wireless network which is operating in a limited geographic area. Students, when you talk about the Bluetooth architecture, there are two different types of Bluetooth networks that we normally define. The first one, as I've already told you, is called as a Piconet, and the second one is called as a Scatternet. Students, chalenge slide ki janib, and we'll first look at what a Piconet looks like. Students, as you can see on the slide, Bluetooth network is called a Piconet, or the first type of the Bluetooth network is called a Piconet or a small net. And students, in this case, we can have up to 8 stations. So Piconet, we can have up to 8 stations in this small network. Bluetooth mein, if you're forming a Piconet, yaad rakhiyega, you can have 8 active devices at one single time. And in this particular case, one of the devices is called as your primary, and all the other devices, which can be up to 7, because we can have up to 8 stations, you can have up to 7 secondaries and 1 primary, and all of these devices, they are called secondaries. And students, all of these secondary stations, they get their synchronization clock, they get their hopping sequence, they get their timing, all of that from the primary. So primary supplies all of that in the downstream direction to all these secondaries. Students, the communication between the primary and the secondary station, it can be one-to-one or one-to-many. It can actually talk to one single secondary at one time, or it can be talking to multiple other secondaries at the other time. But the gist of this is that we can have a max of 8 stations in this Piconet. Students, we can have although we can only have 7 secondaries at one single time, you can have more secondaries connected to this primary in a state that we call as a parked state. So you can have more secondaries than 7, but not in the active state. All of these secondaries that you are looking at, they are in the active state of communication. All of these are active. So at one single time, you can have a max of 7 active secondary Bluetooth devices talking to your primary Bluetooth device. The rest of the secondaries, which are in park state, they are actually synchronized with the primary, but they are not in the active state, and therefore they cannot take part in the communication. Students, if you want a parked state secondary station to be part of the active communication, you have to bring it out of the park state into the active state, and it will be able to take part in the communication as well. But students, note that the max amount of secondaries that we can have in a Piconet is 7. So you have to bring a device which is already in the active state out of that active state into the parked state, and then your parked secondary can actually replace it in a Piconet. Students, the second type of the Bluetooth network that we have got is Scatternet. Multiple Piconets can be combined to form a Scatternet. Students, the interesting bit in this one is that if this particular station, for example, in your slide, it is acting as both a primary and a secondary. So a secondary station in one Piconet, this station is secondary in this first Piconet, but it is a primary in this second Piconet. So a secondary station in one Piconet can be a primary in another Piconet, and this station can receive messages from this Piconet number 1, and it can transmit or relay messages to all the other secondaries in Piconet number 2. So therefore, a station can be a member of 2 Piconets, as you can see in this slide.